Hi there, I'm David Herries, and thanks for coming back this week. Hope you got a lot out of last week's session. Hope your practice went well. If you've got any questions about last week's lesson, you've got the chat you should be able to ask questions on. So please fire away if you've got any of those. Just remember you do need to be subscribed to ask anything. Couple of other bits just before we get started. I think I mentioned these last week, but there's a slight delay between what I'm saying and what you're receiving. So don't worry if there's a delay after you ask a question and I get around to answering it. If you're on your computer or tablet or whatever, if you could turn any other notifications, emails, that kind of thing, turn that off, that'd be great. For any children learning, I'd recommend the parents be in the room. And as I mentioned last week, and I've sort of alluded to already, if you've got any questions, just chuck them in the chat and I will answer them as we go along. If there's only a few, or if there's a load, then we'll just come to it and spend a few minutes at the end. So, what we're going to do to begin with is just check our tuning. So, as before, hopefully you've tuned your guitars. So I've just played the bottom E and we'll work our way through the strings just a few times. Hopefully it's in tune. The most important one's going to be these top three strings because these are the ones which, I'll just change my angle a little. These are the ones we're going to be playing. So this is our bottom E, so just check yours against this. Okay, and the A. D, okay, and then on to G, and then our second string is B, and then our first string is E again. Okay, so hopefully your guitar sounds pretty much the same as mine. So one of the things we talked about last week was what the string names are. So we had those two little mnemonics to help us. So Eddie ate dynamite, goodbye Eddie, or elephants and dogs grow big ears. It'd be interesting to know what you opted for. So if you get a chance, just drop it down in the chat and yeah, let me know. That's always good feedback. So a couple of other things in terms of posture. Remember, if we've got any classical guitarists in the midst, then we want the guitar over the left leg and sort of sits kind of something like that. If you're not aspiring to be a classical guitarist, over the right leg is fine. That's sort of from a demonstration point of view, it's easier for me to play it over the guitar over the right leg. So that's what I'm going for. I would say, as I probably mentioned last time, the classical posture is probably the best one, but you know, it's a bit up and down. As someone who plays a lot of guitar, I tend to mix the postures up a little bit, just so I'm not always sitting in the same position. But you know, I'll leave that with you guys. Whatever's most comfortable is the most important thing. So the other thing we just want to perhaps think about is our right hand. So remember, we have the letters for the right hand fingers and thumb. So it's P for thumb, I for index, M for middle, and A is our third finger. So we're predominantly just going to be using the index and middle fingers still. Yeah, that's what we want to be trying to work on. So that's that. And then we had our three notes that we learned. We had E, B, and G. So if I just flick to the book quickly, I just need to come back a page. So if we see that note up at the top there, perhaps I can change that. So that E there, so when the note's in the top space, that's always E. When it goes through the middle line, that's the B. And when it's on that second line from the bottom there, that's G. So one thing I don't think I mentioned last week that is, sorry, let me turn that off again. So yeah, I didn't mention last week is that the musical stave has 5 lines and the guitar has 6 strings. So the musical stave is a universal kind of musical language, so it's not really related to the guitar as such, not in a direct way. So one thing that people sometimes think, if I just flick that back on again, is if we're looking at, say, that note, in fact this B is a better example, so that is on the middle line, and some people might think, oh hang on, should that be the kind of the 3rd string or something like that, because it's on the 3rd line down. But the answer is no, it isn't. So it's the position of the notes on the stave and where they relate to the guitar is not the same. So for example, that G there looks like it's on the 4th line down, which might make you think it's the 4th string, but actually it's not, it's a G, it's the 3rd string. So that's just something we've got to kind of try and get used to, and yeah, and then our music sight reading develops from there. So what we're going to start off with today is we're going to play through exercise 1 together. Hopefully you practice along with the backing track, which I put that on YouTube, so that should all be good. Again, it'd be interesting if you can find the opportunity just to let me know, did you find playing along with the demo was enough? Did you get onto the backing track, so i.e. without me playing along with you? Again, just sort of helps so you can sort of tailor the lessons for what works for the majority. But anyway, so we're going to start off with no backing tracks as we play these together, so just exercise 1, the trails. So make sure you've got book Guitar Quest 1 open and page 6. So I'll count us in. So we'll go after 4, remembering on our right hand we're going to try and alternate our index and middle fingers as much as we can. As we mentioned last week, don't worry too much if you find that challenging, just do your best with it. Okay, so here we go, exercise 1, after 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, and stop. Yes, so remember as well that I mentioned last week that where we've got the minims, which are the notes with the open circle and the line coming off them, those ones last for 2 beats. That's where I was counting the 2 afterwards. Sometimes I sort of almost half sing the note, and sometimes I'm in tune, sometimes I'm not. So you might have noticed that last note was a bit iffy, but it's that's just my singing voice for you. So okay, so hopefully that was all good. Again, any questions, fire away. Otherwise, what I'd like to do is go on to exercise 2. We're just going to play that through together, and then we're going to move on to something new. So, exercise 2 after 4, there's nothing particularly new, just watch out for those minims. If you're playing along at home, which hopefully you are, try and count the 2 yourself. Whether you count it out loud or in your head is entirely up to you. From a general performance point of view, you don't want to be counting these sort of things out loud. But from a practice point of view, it's fine, because we just need to just try and get the timing right and that kind of thing. So, and I've just had a comment. Yeah, so Martin Jackson just learned letters of the strings rather than mnemonic. Absolutely fine. So whatever you do, as long as you start learning them, and you get to learn them, that's the end goal. The mnemonics are just there to help if you need them. So brilliant. Okay, so on to exercise 2 then. I'll count along this time. This time I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. so we know where we are in the bar. You can count the 2s yourself at home if you want to. So after 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we'd stop. So again, hopefully that's all kind of made sense. Hopefully when you're practicing at home, you'll sound it like that. When you played along just now, again, hopefully you were in time and everything was kind of sounding right. So if you've got any questions, fire away. But otherwise, we are going to look at page 7 of the book. So developing your timing. So I'm just going to flick the book on so we can all see it together. So yeah, I've got a working copy of the book. So your book is page 5, mine is page 7. So apologies about that. We're definitely looking at this page, which is page 5 for the copy that you've got. So okay, so developing your timing, as it says up here, it's a good idea to clap or tap the rhythm first, especially if you're unsure of the notes. Now this is in relation to what we're about to talk about because we're going to introduce another note value here. So we have our crotchets, which are worth 1 beat, so that's the solid dot with a line coming off it. The open circle with a line coming off it is a minim, which is 2 beats. And then these quavers here, you see where you've got the solid dot and the line coming off them, but they're joined or beamed to another note. That sort of denotes that they're quavers. And a quaver is worth half a beat. One on its own is worth half a beat. And they're often paired together because 2 halves obviously make 1 beat. So the way we'd perhaps count that, if I just pop my guitar down for a second, I'll just come back to this screen. So what I'm going to do, hopefully you'll hear this, is tap my foot for the beats. So if we're like 1, 2, 3, 4, in between where my foot is tapping, we've got that gap, and we can count that as an and in between. So if I was counting like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then if you clap in between as well, that can kind of help fill it in. So like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so that's a handy extra thing to be able to do as well, like tap your foot and clap. It can feel a bit like rubbing your head, pat your tummy kind of thing, but it's just developing that musical timing really. So where we have our crotchets, 1 beat per bar, minimum's 2 beats. Crotchet is a 1 beat note, a minimum is a 2 beat note, and a quaver is half a beat. So if I was to play these types of notes, so this one here, it's not an exercise, but I just want to play it to you so you can hear the difference. So crotchet would be 1, 2, 3, 4, the minims, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the quavers, 2 and 3 and 4, and the quavers again, so 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and notice again, I was alternating the fingers on my right hand. If you can see, I can't remember. So let me play that again so you can actually see that. So if I'm playing the quavers, if you watch my right hand, I'm going to alternate my index and middle fingers to 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So again, that can be quite a good exercise just to practice the difference in the timing, just on any string. It doesn't matter which one, and just try and get used to that difference really. So what we're going to do is move on then to exercise 3. So this is whispering. So we have, for example, in the first bar we have 4 crotchets. These are our notes E. So again, if I just bring that back up. So we have our 4 E's here, just crotchets, 1, 2, 3, 4. And as we come into this bar, these are where we're introducing our quavers. So that's going to be a 1 and, so they're going to feel faster. And then 3 more crotchets, 2, 3, 4. Then we change to the note B because the note has moved to that middle line. We hopefully remember that's B. So we've got 4 crotchets, and again the same timing as in the second bar. So we've got a couple of quavers and then a few more crotchets. And then as we come onto the second line, we go back to the note E, a couple of crotchets, a couple of quavers, another crotchet. Then we change to the Bs, same kind of timing. And then the last 2 bars we're onto our minims, E, B, E, E. So let me play it to you first. This is how it's going to sound. I'll count you in again, and I'll count along as we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I realise I left that on, so I'm just going to play that again so you can see my fingers moving as well. So here we go again. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and stop. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just put the track on so you can have a quick listen as well. What I'll do is follow along with the music so you can sort of see where we're at with it as well as we go through. So here we go. Okay, so that gives you an idea of what we're working on with that particular one. Hopefully that all makes sense so far. What we're going to do is turn the page. So we are looking at exercise 4, broken arch. So before we get onto that, what we also want to do is just talk about this bit at the top of the page about other ways of counting the notes, and it's quite common in music to use words to help with the timing, and so where we have a crotchet we can use the word tea, and where we've got a couple of quavers we can use the word coffee. If we've got a minim we can say tea and then the number 2 as well. If you, for example, if I flick that back on again, just turn the page. So these crotchets here, as we say, 1 crotchet equals 2, the minims T2 and 2 quavers are coffee. So if we were looking at broken arch here in exercise 4, we've got 4 crotchets, so we'd say T, 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 and then in the second bar where we've got the 2 quavers, we'll say T, coffee, T, T. Now I haven't written them in for the rest of the exercise, but the principle is the same. So what I'm going to do is play you number 4, and I'll just say teas and coffees as we go through, just to sort of demonstrate the idea. So I just need to flick that back so you can see my hands again. Okay, so here we go, after 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. T, 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 coffee, T, 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 coffee, T, 2, T, 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 2. Okay, I'm just going to demonstrate that once more, just counting the numbers through as well. So again, after 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Whether you want to count the numbers or use words is entirely up to you. From my own teaching experience, I've found some people really love counting the numbers. It just works for them. Some people love using words. Like whatever works, basically. The other option for tea and coffee that's quite common is fly and spider. So fly would obviously be the one, like the crotchet, the one syllable one, and spider would be for the quavers. So yeah, if you wanted to do that, you're obviously very welcome. As I say, whatever works. So let's have a quick listen to Broken Arch. I'll just pop that one on and I'll flick over to the page so you can see it. So here we go. Sorry, my computer's been a bit slow there. Let me try that again. Here we go. Okay, good stuff. So hopefully that made sense. So what I would also like to do is try exercise 5, which is courtyard busker. So this will be the last one for today, I think. So again, if I just flick the music sheet back on, you see this little squiggly symbol here, that is the crotchet rest, and it represents one beat of rest in the music, and rest is just effectively silence. So what we can do is just say the word rest when we get to that point in the music. So for example, here we'll be looking at that note, we go, hopefully we recognise it as G, which is our 3rd string, we play it 3 times, then we get the rest, so we just cut the sound off and leave that space empty for 1 beat, then we come back to the G, continue, crotchet, a couple of quavers, crotchet, and then another rest, then we're on to the Bs with the rest and so on. So let me just turn that off again, and what I'm going to do is demonstrate courtyard busker to you. I'll play it a couple of times, and so the first time I'll just count 1, 2, 3, I'll say the word rest where the rests appear, and then the second time I'll say things like teas and coffees, just to see if that helps make anything any clearer at all. So okay, so here we go, courtyard busker after 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, rest. 1, 2, and 3, rest. 1, 2, 3, rest. 1, 2, and 3, rest. rest, 1, 2 and 3, rest, 1, rest, 3, rest, 1, rest, 3, rest. Okay, and then now with teas and coffees. So if you're going to try and play along at home, take a deep breath, it's always good. And let's try it together. So after 4, okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Tea, 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 rest. Tea, coffee, tea, rest. Tea, 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 rest. Tea, coffee, tea, rest. Tea, 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 rest. Tea, coffee, tea, rest. Tea, rest. Tea, rest. Tea, rest. Tea, rest. Okay, so one thing I didn't mention is how do you actually achieve a rest in music. And basically we've just got to cut the sound off. So you have a couple of options. Say for example we're playing the top E string and we've got a rest that follows on from that. If I turn that way you might see it better. So if I pluck the string there, I can just put my middle, so if I use my index finger, sorry, I can put my middle finger back on it and that will cut the sound off. All we have to do is stop the string from vibrating. So we can do that kind of thing. You know, if you pluck with the middle finger, use your index finger. Or alternatively, you could use your left hand and just kind of lightly touch the string. Don't come down too hard, otherwise you might get odd sounds that we don't necessarily want. So yeah, just nice and gentle, and that should cut the sound off. Okay, so let's have a listen to the track. I will flick this music back on and point at where we are as we go. So this is Courtyard Busker, and this is the demo. So just coming up here. Okay, jolly good. So, hopefully that was all reasonably clear. And thanks for the comment as well about loving the tea and coffee suggestion. I can't take credit for it, I'm afraid. That is a pretty standard musical thing, but it's definitely worth knowing. I know when I learned, I was told to do that, and I still use it now. And there's a whole array of words you can use to help get the timing. Some make more sense than others, but you know, we'll get onto those in the future. Okay, so what we want to do is recap a couple of things just to finish off with. So what we covered today, if you don't know the string names or you feel you're not quite sure of them, obviously you still want to keep learning those. Exercises 1 and 2, if you found them tricky and you feel like you could do a little bit more practice, do a bit more practice. It's as simple as that really. And then we also covered exercises 3, 4 and 5 from the book. So have a go at those. Remember, in terms of how to practice, what we want to do is practice sort of just on your own, try and get the notes right and the timing and all that kind of thing. Then when you feel you've got it, you can try the demo tracks. So again, I've put those videos up on YouTube, on my YouTube homepage. So you can either just have a look at the videos, or you can watch this video back once it's gone live and just try and join in with what I was playing. And then once you feel you're playing it comfortably with the demo track, you can then go on to the backing track, and then that's obviously with my part removed, and so it's sort of over to you. Can you keep in time, keep all the notes and everything? So yeah, so that's the main thing to be working on this week. Special emphasis obviously on the quavers, just trying to get that timing. And then I think that's pretty much it really. So what else have we got here? So yeah, remember we want to be practicing 4 or 5 times a week. And And next week, just so you know, we'll probably be getting on to our first fretted note, which is good because that's going to give us obviously a bit more of a challenge as well. So just to finish off, if you enjoy the lesson, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't made a donation, please do so. That would be much appreciated. I'll send an email around again in the next few days with a link for next week's lesson. And what I'm going to do now is just change the screen. So if you have any questions, please fire away. I'll sit here for another few minutes. And then if not, we'll just end the session there. So thanks again for joining. I hope you got a load out of it. Hopefully it was all really useful. And I will hopefully see you next week. Okay, and best of luck with all the practice.